For many years, the Krezar Empire ruled the galaxy with power and fear. They were large alien creatures with blue skin, sharp claws, and glowing red eyes. They never smiled. They never showed mercy. Any planet they saw as weak, they destroyed. Any race that tried to fight, they crushed like insects. The name Krezar was enough to make whole civilizations fall to their knees. They had no enemies left. They had nothing to fear. Every living being in the galaxy knew one truth: never fight the Krezar. On the outer edge of the galaxy was a planet called Voltar 6. It was dry, covered in red rocks and dust storms. No life lived there, at least that's what people believed. The Krezar used it as a trash planet, dumping broken machines, old weapons, and the dead bodies of those they had destroyed. No one went there. It was silent, empty, and forgotten. Until one night. In the middle of the darkest storm Voltar 6 had seen in years, something strange happened. The sky turned black, not from clouds, but from something else. A shape, small and fast, shot down, through the sky like a falling star. It wasn't a Krezar ship. It didn't match any known design. The shape burned through the atmosphere and crashed into the wasteland with a loud boom that echoed across the rocks. The ground shook. The sand turned to glass around the crash site. Krezar scouts were sent to check. They laughed and joked, thinking it was some broken escape pod or lost traveler, but they never came back. The general grew angry and sent 12 of his best soldiers. These were hunters, trained to kill anything, even in total darkness. They reached the crash site quickly. What they found was strange. A black ship, smooth and quiet, sat half buried in the ground. No markings, no light, no sound. Before they could move closer, the door of the ship opened. A man stepped out. He didn't wear armor. He didn't carry weapons. He looked human. Medium, height, black hair, torn jacket, dirty jeans. His hands were empty and his face showed no fear. He looked at the Krezar soldiers as if they were nothing but shadows. The soldiers shouted at him. He didn't reply. One of them stepped forward and tried to grab him. The man moved so fast that the Krezar didn't even see it. In 1 second, the soldier's neck was broken, his body dropping to the dirt. The others fired their laser guns. The man vanished. Then he appeared behind them. In less than 10 seconds, 4 more Krezar were on the ground, not moving. The remaining soldiers tried to run, but they didn't get far. One by one they fell. No blood, no screams, just silence. In the Krezar command ship above the planet, red lights flashed. The video from the soldiers' body cams played on the main screen. The general watched in silence. He saw the human, he saw the speed, the strength, the calm face. Then he saw the screen go black. No signal, no survivors. The general growled and slammed his fist on the table. "Who is he?" he shouted. But no answers came. The system searched for his face, his DNA, anything that could match, nothing. No record, no past, no name. Then something even stranger happened. A message was sent to every Krezar system, not from the man, but from somewhere deep inside their own network. It was only 5 words. "Your fear ends with me." The Krezar had never been afraid before, but now some of them started to feel cold. Some whispered that he was not human. Others believed he was a weapon made by someone smarter, stronger. But none of them knew the truth. The only thing they agreed on was that this human had no fear. Across the galaxy, stories began to spread. Soldiers told tales of a human who fought without weapons. Ships reported seeing a black shadow moving through space, destroying Krezar outposts and disappearing without a trace. One planet said they saw him walk into a fire and come out without a single burn. Another said he stood still while missiles flew around him, and none touched his body. Some said he was a ghost. Others believed he was death itself. The Krezar High Council held a secret meeting. They watched every piece of footage. They listened to every witness. They argued. Some wanted to send the full fleet to hunt him down. Others wanted to study him. One old commander simply said, "We must kill him before the galaxy sees we can bleed." Back on Voltar 6, the man walked alone in the dust. His ship had disappeared, almost like it had melted into the ground. He moved without sound, looking at the sky. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes were deep, like they had seen many things, terrible things. He was not there by accident. He came with a purpose. He didn't want war. But he didn't fear it. He didn't want to destroy, but he wouldn't stop if he had to. No one knew where he came from. But soon, the whole galaxy would know one thing. The Krezar feared no one, until they fought a human without fear. The Krezar were angry now. They had lost 12 elite soldiers on Voltar 6. No blood was found. No damage to the strange human. Just 12 bodies left like trash. It was a message, and it was clear. This human was not afraid. He wanted them to know it. Inside the Krezar High Command ship, General Zorvak stood in front of a screen. The room was cold and quiet. Around him were commanders from different star systems. Their faces were tense. For the first time in many years, they didn't feel powerful. They felt nervous. Zorvak pointed to the screen. It showed footage of the man. He killed them in under 30 seconds, the general said. No tech, no fear. We don't know what he is. One commander asked, "Is he from Earth?" "No," another said. "Earth was destroyed 40 years ago. Humans are gone." "Then what is he?" someone else asked. "A weapon? A clone?" No one had answers. Only fear. Fear that grew every hour. That fear turned into rage. The Krezar sent a full squadron, 50 warships, each with hundreds of soldiers, to search Voltar 6. They scanned every inch of the planet. They found nothing. The human was gone. But then, something strange happened. The moment the ships left Voltar 6, an explosion hit Krezar Outpost 99 on planet Draven. That base had over 300 soldiers and strong energy shields. It took years to build. It was destroyed in 5 minutes. Only one figure was seen on camera. The same man walking through fire, silent, unhurt. They tried to shoot him. He vanished. He reappeared behind turrets, disabling them by hand. Missiles fired at him, but changed direction at the last second, crashing into Krezar tanks instead. Commanders watching the live feed were frozen in shock. One whispered, "He's rewriting our tech in real time." Another added, "He's in the system. He knows our code." The general's face turned pale. This wasn't just a fighter, this was a message. He wasn't running, he was hunting. The fearless one, this ghost in human form, began moving from planet to planet. Every base he touched was destroyed. But he never killed the innocent. Only soldiers. Only the ones who followed Krezar orders. Civilians were left untouched, sometimes even helped. One child told a story. He said the man gave him a warm jacket and disappeared into the shadows. Another said he whispered, "Don't be afraid anymore. They're not gods." Soon, Krezar soldiers started quitting. Some refused orders, some ran. Some even tried to help the people they once ruled. The Krezar feared only one thing now. Not death, not pain, but the sound of silence before this human appeared. He didn't talk. He didn't show emotion. He just appeared, and everything fell apart. The Krezar tried everything. Lasers, poison gas, drones. But nothing worked. He always escaped, or worse, turned their weapons against them. Then came the worst day yet. The Fearless One destroyed Command Station Zarnok, a floating city above planet Krell. It had shields that had never failed in 300 years. He walked through them like wind, and then he did something no one expected. He didn't leave. He sent a message. His voice was cold, calm, deep. "You fear me, because I don't fear you. I'm not here to end your rule. I'm here to remind you that no empire lasts forever." The message was played on every Krezar screen, every world, every ship. Even the Emperor saw it, and in that moment the galaxy changed. He wasn't just a threat now, he was a symbol. To the weak, he gave hope. To the Krezar, he gave fear. The Fearless One had no army, no planet, no fleet. But he had one thing, no one else. had the will to stand alone, and this was only the beginning of his war. The Khazar Empire was now afraid, but they were not fools. They were killers, planners, war masters, and fear only made them more dangerous. General Zorvak called together the Empire's oldest minds. "We cannot keep chasing him," he growled. "He's not a soldier, he's something else. If we don't stop him soon, the entire galaxy will rise against us." They decided on one plan: set a trap. The Khazar knew the Fearless One didn't attack just anywhere. He hit places with high value, command bases, prison camps, or factories where slaves were kept. So they designed a fake prison camp on the quiet jungle planet Eroth 7. They broadcasted false data across the galaxy. Stories of children being tortured, innocent families locked in cages. All lies, meant only to bait him in. They placed special traps, walls that could bend light, bombs hidden under the trees, sniper drones in the sky. 10,000 soldiers waited silently in the forest, ready to fire the moment he arrived. Then they waited. 1 day passed, then 2. No sign. On the 3rd night, all camera feeds went dark. At first, they thought it was a glitch. Then the screaming started. From the east side of the camp, soldiers began to vanish. Not killed, vanish. No blood, no body, just gone. Then came the whispers. Voices in the forest. Some soldiers claimed they heard their own names being spoken in the dark. Some saw their dead family members calling out to them. Others simply dropped their guns and ran. Sniper drones picked up movement but couldn't track it. Something was jumping between shadows, moving faster than anything their sensors had ever seen. Then the power went out. All of it. In total silence and darkness, only one sound could be heard. Footsteps, slow, calm, heavy. Then from the center of the camp, a voice spoke through their own speakers. I knew this was a trap. The soldiers froze. I came anyway, the voice continued. Because I don't run, I don't hide. And now, you're trapped with me. Suddenly fire lit the jungle. Explosions rocked the ground. The Khazar's own bombs began going off one by one, rewired from the inside. The soldier nearest the dome command post screamed as a figure dropped from above and vanished into the smoke. Lasers fired wildly in every direction, but hit nothing. One by one, the lights came back on, and all that was left were broken machines, scorched trees, and thousands of weapons lying on the ground, untouched by human hands. The general watched all this from orbit. His mouth trembled. He knew, he whispered. He knew it was a trap, and he still came. But the worst part was yet to come. The Fearless One left one survivor alive. A young Khazar soldier was found wandering alone, shaking, eyes wide. He kept repeating the same sentence over and over. He looked into my mind and showed me the end of us. That line spread faster than the fire. The Khazar commanders tried to stop the rumors, but it was too late. Now their own soldiers began to whisper a new name for the human, the ghost of the end, a being that couldn't die, a shadow that could control machine and minds. Whether it was true or not didn't matter. Fear doesn't need truth. And now, the whole Khazar Empire was drowning in it. But the Fearless One was not done yet. He had seen their trap. He had felt their fear. Now, it was his turn to strike first. And in Part 4, he finally reveals what he's really here for. The Fearless One had destroyed another Khazar trap. But he didn't stay. He never stayed. He disappeared again into the dark, leaving only fear behind. But now the galaxy was starting to ask a new question. Why was he doing this? He didn't ask for money. He didn't take control of any planet. He didn't give speeches. He just kept moving, destroying, targeting, always the Khazar. The people of weaker worlds once ruled by the Khazar began to pray to him like a god. In the markets and villages they whispered, "He is the one who does not fear. He is our revenge. He fights for us." But the truth was more complex. Far away, in a hidden part of space, A small secret base floated inside a broken asteroid. It was silent. No lights, no guards. Inside there were only 3 people. Old, tired and human, yes, human. Earth had been destroyed 40 years ago. Everyone believed it. But it wasn't true. Earth had been wiped from the maps by the Krezar, yes. But not all humans were dead. A few had survived. Hidden. Running. Waiting. These few survivors had built only one thing in all these years. Him. The fearless one. Not a robot. Not a clone. But a man born from pain. Built with weapons in his blood. Trained in silence. Designed not to rule, but to finish what the Krezar started long ago. He was their final plan. And now, after all these years, that plan had begun. Back in space, Krezar ships started disappearing. Not exploding, just vanishing. Like ghosts. Their signals would go dark, and the crew would never be seen again. One scientist began to notice something strange. The pattern, he said. Look, he's not attacking random places. He's following a path. A path to where? They asked. The core. He's going toward the heart of the Empire. The heart was the center of Krezar power. A planet made of metal, floating above a black sun. It was their capital, their command center, their fortress. No one had ever reached it. No enemy had even come close. Now the fearless one was headed there, and nothing was stopping him. But why? He wasn't stupid. He knew the Krezar would defend that place with everything they had. It was suicide, unless he wasn't going there to destroy it. Unless there was something inside the heart, something hidden, something important, something he needed, something connected to Earth. One broken Krezar officer who had survived an earlier attack whispered a theory. He's not just fighting us, he's searching for something, maybe someone. Back at the asteroid base, the last humans watched him move closer to the core. One of them whispered, "He's getting close. Now, soon, he'll know the truth." "What if he doesn't survive?" the younger one asked. The old woman smiled with tired eyes. "If he dies, we die. But if he wins, the Krezar will finally feel what they gave us." In the darkness of space, the fearless one stood inside an empty Krezar ship he had taken. He stared at a small screen. It showed an old image, Earth, burning. His jaw tightened. He wasn't doing this for glory. He wasn't here to save the galaxy. He was here for justice. For truth. For what the Krezar stole from him long ago. And now, nothing, not fear, not war, not death, could stop him from reaching it. The heart of the Empire was not a planet. It was a machine. Bigger than any city. Darker than space. Powered by a black sun that never moved. This place was where the Krezar built their laws. Their weapons. Their lies. No outsider had ever reached it. No one had ever dared. Until now. The fearless one stood in the shadows of a stolen Krezar scout ship. He had taken it from a patrol 3 days ago. He didn't kill the crew. He left them alive, to watch him disappear toward the Empire's core. He didn't need their lives. He needed access. The ship drifted through layers of scanners and defense grids. Thousands of red eyes followed it. Giant cannons locked on. Drones hovered close, but none fired. The ship's codes were clean, approved, authorized. The Krezar guards had no idea who was inside. The fearless one stepped off the ship in silence. His boots touched the smooth black floor of the central dock. Above him, massive machines moved like insects, loading weapons, fueling warships, training soldiers. Everything was perfect. Everything was prepared for war, but not for him. He walked calmly through the metal halls. Cameras blinked, sensors scanned, but nothing stopped him. The stolen ID in the ship's system kept him hidden, for now. In his hand, he held a tiny device. It pulsed with blue light. It pointed him deeper into the heart. toward something the Krizar didn't know he was looking for. A room, a secret one, buried under miles of steel. Somewhere below was Project Zero. It was a name the Krizar had erased from their records. A name only a few ancient minds remembered. They had created something long ago. A test. A human child. Stronger, smarter, fearless. But they failed, or so they thought, because that child didn't die. He grew, and now he was back. As the fearless one moved through the corridors, alarms suddenly rang out. They knew. Someone had seen him. Maybe a camera. Maybe a heat scan. Maybe just a feeling. He didn't run. He didn't hide. He moved faster. Krizar guards blocked. The next hallway, fully armed. They opened fire. He vanished in the smoke. When the smoke cleared, only silence. He was gone again. But he left them a message, scratched into the wall with his own hand. I remember this place. In the control room, the Emperor's voice was calm, but cold. He's here, inside our heart. The generals looked at each other in fear. No human has ever. He is not just human, the Emperor said. He turned to his secret weapon. The mind crawler, a creature grown to read thoughts, find secrets, and destroy minds. Release it, the Emperor said. Let it taste his mind. Deep below the station, the fearless one entered a long tunnel. His tracker blinked faster now. He was close. Very close. But something changed. The air grew colder. The walls pulsed like veins. He stepped into a large circular chamber. Empty. Quiet. Too quiet. Then, pain. A scream inside his skull. Not a sound. A thought. A voice in his head that wasn't his. I see you, it said. He fell to his knees. Blood dripped from his nose. The mind crawler had found him. It entered his thoughts, ripping through memories, like knives. It tried to find fear, tried to crush him with his own pain. It saw fire. It saw earth burning. It saw the Krizar take everything from him, his family, his home, his name. But then, the fearless one stood up, his eyes glowing now. The pain faded. The mind crawler screamed in his head and then vanished, destroyed. His mind was not weak, it was a weapon. He took a breath and looked at the wall. It slid open. Inside, a white room. Clean. Cold. Forgotten. A single pod stood in the center. Inside it, a second human. Unmoving. Still breathing. His eyes narrowed. This was it. This was why he came. Not just revenge. Not just war. This was his brother. And the Krizar had kept him locked away. For 40 years, the room was quiet. Too quiet. The fearless one stood in front of the pod. The glass was thick, covered in frost. He wiped it clean with one hand. Slowly, carefully. Inside, a man floated. Eyes closed. Breathing steady. Human, but different. Younger than the fearless one. Wires connected to his spine. His arms had metal veins. His chest rose and fell, like he was asleep, dreaming a dream he couldn't escape. For 40 years he had been here, trapped, frozen, forgotten. The fearless one stared at him. His expression didn't change, but something shifted in the air. He placed a hand on the pod and softly whispered, I found you. He typed a code into the side panel. The pod hissed. Steam spilled out. Lights turned green. The man inside began to move. His eyes opened, blue bright, confused. He looked around, breathing hard. He saw the fearless one. For a long moment they didn't speak. Then the younger one said just one word. Brother? The fearless one gave a slow nod. A voice echoed through the room. Cold, robotic. Unauthorized access detected. Lockdown initiated. The fearless one looked at his brother. We don't have much time. Can you move? The younger man sat up slowly. His limbs were weak, but his mind was waking fast. He touched the scars on his arms. They kept me. Locked in this cage, he said. The fearless one nodded. They feared what you could become. And what did you become? He paused. Their nightmare. Suddenly the floor shook. Doors slammed shut across the hallway. Red lights blinked. The Krezar knew where they were. The Emperor's voice filled the chamber. Calm. Mocking. So, the second one lives. How lucky. But it will not save you. The fearless one ignored the voice. He helped his brother to his feet. You're not done yet. We leave together. How? The younger man asked. This place is a fortress. The fearless one tapped his wrist. A small screen appeared. It showed a blinking light moving through the Krezar heart's outer wall. A ship? No, he said. Our ship. Hidden inside their own systems. Ready to launch. The younger one stared at him. You planned all this? I've been planning since they took you. The younger man smiled for the first time. They're not ready for both of us. Outside the chamber, heavy boots marched closer. Krezar warriors, fully armored, stood in formation. Drones swarmed the air. Cannons charged. This was not just a battle. It was a last stand. The two brothers stepped out together, side by side. The fearless one raised his hand. Electricity sparked from his palm. The younger brother looked at his own hand. It lit up with fire. Krezar soldiers stopped. Just for a second. They had seen one human destroy cities now. There were two. The brothers attacked. Together they tore through the metal army like a storm. One moved like a shadow, silent and sharp. The other burned with fury, tearing machines apart with raw power. They didn't speak. They didn't stop. For the first time in history, the heart of the Empire was bleeding. As they reached the launch pad, the stolen ship powered up. Alarms screamed. Cannons turned toward them, but it was too late. They entered the ship, locked the door, and launched. The Krezar fired everything they had. The ship vanished into light. They escaped. In the deep black of space, the younger brother looked out the window. Where do we go now? The fearless one replied. To end what they started. And far behind them, inside the burning heart of the Empire, the Emperor stared at the broken screen in silence. For the first time in 400 years, he was afraid. News of their escape spread like fire. Two humans, alive. One already a legend, the fearless one. The other, newly awakened, filled with fury and fire. Together, they had escaped the most powerful place in the galaxy. No one had ever done that. Not in 1,000 years. Across the stars, people stared at their screens in silence. On slave planets, workers dropped their tools. On ruined worlds, survivors looked at the sky. Something had changed. Something had returned. Hope. In the underworlds of the Krezar system, small groups began to rise. They called themselves the Broken Blades, the Last Flame, children of Earth. Many weren't even human, but they were ready to fight, because the message was clear now. The Krezar can bleed. Back in space, the two brothers didn't stop. They moved fast. They destroyed weapon factories, freed prisoners, hijacked communication signals, and each time they left behind the same symbol, a circle with a crack through the middle, the mark of resistance. In secret, the fearless one contacted the old humans still hiding in the asteroid base. The time has come, he said. Send the call. They did. And for the first time in 40 years, Earth spoke again. A signal, broadcast in every direction, every language. We are alive. We do not run. We do not bow. We are human, and we are coming home. The Krezar panicked. Systems went dark. Soldiers deserted. Planets began to break away from the Empire. And deep inside the capital, the Emperor's voice echoed in the throne room. Fools. You think this is an uprising? This is a spark. I will crush it before it becomes a flame. But even he knew it was already burning. He ordered his scientists to activate the final protocol, a secret weapon never used before. a world killer, built for one purpose: to erase all human DNA in a single blast. But it needed time to charge. Time. The brothers would not give him, because the next target was clear: the Emperor himself. Far away, the two brothers stood aboard a hidden fleet of stolen Krasar ships, repaired and repainted by rebels. Human, alien, machine, united under one banner. Theon, younger brother, looked across the stars. "Do you think we can really win?" he asked. The fearless one didn't answer at first. He touched a small, broken charm he kept around his neck. It was the only thing left from Earth. A piece of metal, shaped like a home. He closed his eyes. "I don't care if we win," he said. "I care that they fall." And then, with hundreds of rebel fighters behind them, they gave the final order: set course for the throne world. The stars were quiet, too quiet. Then, they came. Hundreds of ships, stolen from the Krasar, now flew under one banner. The rebellion had arrived at the edge of the Krasar throne world, a massive black sphere floating near a dying star. Inside it, the Emperor waited. He had ruled the galaxy for over 400 years. He had ended worlds, crushed empires, destroyed Earth. But now he was afraid. The rebels didn't wait. The attack began. Explosions lit the sky. Fighters danced through laser fire. Alien allies fought side by side with humans. The rebellion wasn't perfect, but it was powerful. It was desperate, and it was angry. In the lead ship stood the brothers, the fearless one, and his brother, awake, burning with power. Their ship crashed straight through the outer wall of the throne world. Fire and smoke followed. They jumped out before it exploded. Inside the Emperor's fortress, guards rushed them, too slow, too weak, too late. The younger brother ripped through steel with his hands. The fearless one moved like a shadow, silent and deadly. They didn't stop. They didn't speak. They had one goal: the throne room. The Emperor stood alone, wrapped in dark armor. His body had changed. Older, colder, more machine than flesh, but his voice still dripped with poison. "You are nothing," he said. "Two broken humans. You think you've won?" The fearless one stepped forward. "We don't need to win," he said. "We just need you to fall." The Emperor raised his hand. The walls came alive. Massive machines unfolded. His last weapon, a giant device, pulsing with dark red light. It was the final protocol, ready to wipe out all human DNA across the galaxy. The countdown had started. Minutes. The fight exploded. The room shook. The younger brother attacked first, fast, brutal, full of fire. The Emperor countered with dark energy, throwing him across the chamber. The fearless one leaped in, striking with precision. They fought, together. One with rage, one with focus. The Emperor was strong, too strong, but he was not fearless, and that was his weakness. As the countdown hit 60 seconds, the brothers were bleeding, bruised, tired, but standing. Together, they looked at each other. No words, just understanding. The younger brother charged. The Emperor. The fearless one ran toward the control core. The Emperor grabbed the younger one mid-air, slamming him into the floor. "You are weak," he roared, but too late, because the fearless one reached the core, and with one final move, he ripped it out. The final protocol died. The red lights faded. The weapon was stopped. The Emperor screamed. He rushed toward the fearless one, ready to kill him. But the younger brother tackled him, dragging him into the energy field powering the weapon. There was a flash, a blast, and then silence. The fearless one crawled to the edge of the blast crater. Inside, he saw what remained. His brother and the Emperor, both gone, burned away in the light. Tears filled his eyes, for the first time in years. He looked up at the ceiling as it cracked open. Above, the sky was filled with rebel ships, cheering, celebrating. The Krasar were finished. The Empire had fallen. Epilogue. Months later, peace began to grow. Planets once ruled by fear were now free. The fearless one disappeared. Some say he died. Others say he still walks among the stars, watching, waiting, protecting. But on many worlds, children tell a story of a man with no fear who destroyed an empire, not for power, not for glory, but for justice and for his brother.